Hello, how's it going? Let me know if you guys can hear me and can hear the game okay. Alright, so I'm Duckfist, and this is the Krion conquest tutorial for the Big 20 number 4 on the Best of NES. So this is for the challenge. It's actually going to be on the North American copy of the game, the Krion Conquest. But I have several save states on the Japanese version, and for the purpose of this demonstration it'll be the same, so don't worry about that. But something to note is you can't actually do the boss skipping strategies on the Japanese version. That's the North American exclusive, and I'll be talking about that in just a little bit once we get there. And it's been a long time since I've played this game, so this will primarily be a discussion of the glitches and the major skips in the game, and kind of the basic movement, basic just kind of technique of playing. For individual stage strategies, for individual movement tricks and stuff like that, I recommend watching the world record run by PLD. I'll also take some questions probably near the end, but if I miss anything, point it out and I will try to correct it. Alright, so I'm going to start off here, and this is stage 2-1. The goal in this is to, beat Act 4? Or, I'm sorry, beat Act 3 is the goal. And boss skips are allowed. There's not a setup to skip the first boss, the boss of Act 1. There is for Act 2 and Act 3. But until we get there, there are numerous zips that you can do starting off in Stage 2. I won't talk anything about Act 1, because there isn't anything other than basic platforming and movement. But I will talk a little bit about how the game controls, and you can apply that towards what you see in like the world record video. But it controls kind of like a Mega Man game. Of course, there's ice physics in this stage and some surfaces, so it changes it a little bit. But the controls are really strange. They're very restrictive. One thing you might know is that your jumps are a little weird. If you shoot in midair, like, this is your normal jump height, but if you shoot, like, on the way up, it forces you to fall. Shooting always forces you to fall, so keep in mind if you're jumping and shooting while platforming, that you can't make a big jump if you're shooting. And the ice physics aren't too much of a problem in this stage, but just be aware of it. There's also several weapons that you get from the very beginning. The normal shot you can charge up, and this is the strongest attack in the game, pretty much. Fully charged shot. Keep in mind that if you screen transition while it's charging, pretty sure, yeah, you can't fully charge it anymore. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can. I guess the meter just glitches out. The other weapons you have are the Phoenix Fire, and look at my health right now. I've got 10 HP. Once you use this, as soon as you select it, it attacks everything on the screen for heavy damage, and it also removes, I think, 4 hit points. So I have 6 HP left, so keep that in mind. Try not to accidentally select fire. There's also freeze, which is the same thing as the normal shot, except a fully charged shot will freeze certain enemies. It's not particularly useful. There's also the ball. This is a really useful weapon to hit enemies out of reach. I'm not sure if there's a decent strategy for using this, though, in these stages. You might want to use it against the Act 4 boss, if you decide to play the entire game. These shots are also half the damage of a normal shot, so keep that in mind. There's also the shield. Regular shot is the same as usual. A fully charged shot creates this thing that blocks projectiles. Not terribly useful in a speedrun. And the last one is the most useful ability, which is the broom. You have a basic shot, but it also deploys a broom, which is kind of like an item 2 in Mega Man. But one difference is that you can actually control what direction it goes in by shooting in that direction. I'm going to go into this next screen to start demonstrating things. The strategy here, you can see it in the world record though, is, I'm pretty sure at least, you take a charge shot down here and you shoot this guy on the way down to clear the screen out. So we'll just play around with the broom down here and I'll show you what it's all about. You can see you have multi-directional control. I can't make it go back down though. However, the brooms are really strange in how it affects your platforming. As soon as you jump, the broom goes away, or it flies forward. So be really careful not to jump on accident when you're on the broom if you're over a pit of spikes or something. You might have noticed it when I did the screen transition and came down here, but another aspect of the physics is basically every surface is like standing on a magnet beam in Mega Man 1. If you walk off of anything, you have full downward velocity, so you drop very fast. Keep that in mind. If you fall off of a platform, you will start dropping quick. The brooms are also really weird. If you place a broom pretty high up, you might notice this when kind of playing casually. But if you try to jump up to the broom and you don't jump high enough, like if you let go of the button too early, the broom just disappears and you fall really fast. So be really careful when jumping on a broom. Make sure you have enough vertical height to actually land on the top of the broom. Don't let go of the A button too early, or else you just drop. It takes a while to get used to the restrictive nature of the mechanics in this game, but that's most of the basic movement and strategy. Something you might notice, it's kind of subtle, but if you're standing still and you turn around, your hitbox actually moves pretty abruptly in the other direction. This also applies when you're standing next to a wall. If you can tap the button in one frame, you can go inside the wall. However, there's also a really strange mechanic, and I'll get into this now. The thing that makes this entire speedrun happen is the select button. It's really weird, but this button normally doesn't have a purpose in regular gameplay. But for some reason, whenever you're holding the select button down, it kind of changes the way you jump. It sort of prevents you from jumping. If you try to jump while the select button is down, you won't actually jump. It's really strange. I think it forces your position, like when you jump while holding a select button for like one frame, and it makes you like land back on the ground. Whatever it is, it also has like the side effect of letting you enter walls very easily. I could turn around without moving with the select button much easier than just having to tap the button for one frame, which is kind of hard. If you hold the select button and you're next to a wall, tap right. It's really, really easy to get inside a wall that way. Also, when I'm stuck in the wall, nothing's happening if I'm pressing the jump button. But if you hold select and press jump, it lets you just climb the wall. This is really, really easy to do. You can do this anywhere. Get next to a wall, hold the select button, turn around, press the A button. You can transition back screens. You can just simply climb up a wall that normally you might have to broom up. So when you're playing this game, you might even want to add that kind of to your toolkit. Just if you see an easier way to get over a wall, just climb over it with the select button. Really strange. Getting inside of a wall can also let you zip. And this is only in Act 2, really. Only easily done in Act 2. I think it's just because ice physics are applied throughout the entire act, and that allows zipping. But you normally can't do, like in Act 3, we can get inside the wall, but we can't do fast zipping. So the broom can let us get inside some of these ceilings here. The same way. There's a couple of ways to do this. A fast setup is to ride the broom into the wall, jump, hold select, and turn around right next to the wall. This is really hard to do, though, because you have to, you know, hold forward, jump, and press select, and the select button is kind of all the way over on the other side of the controller. So that might take a lot of practice to get. And then, of course, continue holding select and just keep tapping A until you're at the desired height. An easier setup. Make sure you don't have any enemies kind of bothering you here. And I have to actually find this myself, because it's been a while since I've played this, but if you find just a proper pixel, you can just deploy the broom there, and then just stand on the broom, turn around, and just go straight up without having to... It just lets you set it up without having to maneuver the broom around. So let's see what pixel this is. I would look at the ground, I guess, for some sort of visual cue. There's also this weird gray column in the background that I could probably use too. That might be a little too far. So if the broom, if I want to go up, and the broom, if it would touch the wall, it would despawn. So that's about the perfect spot right there. So I'll get on the broom, I'll turn around until, see, it's about, the wall is about a little bit to the right half of Dorothy. And this is about perfect. There's a couple of pixels of leeway for this to work, like it would probably work right there, maybe even one more pixel in. And that might be a little too far. But this is good. So here, an easy way to set this up, so I'm going to hold up and shoot to start the broom moving upwards, and right after I do, I'm going to hold down. If you're crouching, it's much more lenient in allowing you to go inside the wall. So I'm also going to hold the select button. So I'm going to hold up and press B to start the broom, and then hold down and hold select until I'm inside the wall. Okay, and as soon as you hear that happen, you can release down, continue holding select, and start pressing the A button. For setting up this zip, this is the desired height right here. You're kind of standing on this like ice cube in the background. To start the zip, all you have to do is hold in the direction that you want to zip for half a second, and then release it. And that's it. However, you can only zip about one full screen length at a time. Notice I just stopped. You'll just stop after about one full screen length. You can just tap forward again before you stop, and it'll like sort of refresh it, and you can keep going. So I'll go back a little bit. Hold forward, let go, tap forward, and you can just kind of keep tapping forward, and it'll keep moving you forward. And then notice once it got to the end of that screen, it automatically triggered the screen transition. Let's try and find that pixel again. That's about right. Hold down, press select. Release down, continue holding select. Tap A few times to stand on that little block in the background, the ice cube. Hold right, release, tap, tap, and that's it. So that's the first major zip. Again, the 2-1 zip. There's a second one in this stage. Let's go ahead and kill this guy. You can also jump over him. Keep the broom equipped. You could... The normal strategy here, the intended way to go through the stage, is to ride the broom upwards. The broom will follow into this next screen, and you continue like normal. But the broom is really slow. Instead, go up against this wall, hold the select button, tap right, mash the A button while holding select. Keep mashing the A button. Once you get to the top, this is about right. roughly when Dorothy's hat is kind of intersecting the top of the screen. Same thing here. We're just going to hold right for half a second, release it, and then just tap right occasionally to continue the zip as far as you can. Tap, 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 tap. We're all the way at the end of the screen now. Notice that there's a spike above Dorothy. Yeah, I'll actually want to position myself a little bit under that screen transition, and then we're going to jump to trigger it. So notice you can zip, like I was mentioning earlier. You just hold the direction, release, and continue tapping it. But you can also kind of finely position yourself as well. And this only works moving to the left. Just by changing the direction that you're facing, you'll move. So just wiggle. It's just wiggling. Just tapping left and right repeatedly. It's a good way to just precisely position yourself. So after zipping all the way to the right here, just wiggle left and right until you're lined up with the exit. Hold select. Press jump a few times, and then just press jump without holding select, and you trigger the transition. And that's it. This is the end of the stage. Okay, I'll just recap that one more time real quick. 2 1-zip setups. It's pretty lenient for where to place this broom, but it's about right here. Just look at the background and the floor for a good visual cue. Deploy the broom, stand on the tip, face left. Hold up and shoot, and then hold down and hold select. Release down, tap A few times until you're right here. Hold right, tap right, tap right. Jump over this guy. Hold select, tap right. Mash the A button while holding select. Until you're about right here. Hold right, tap, 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 tap. Wiggle until you're lined up with the screen transition. And you actually don't need to hold select there. You could just tap the A button a few times. And then fly over this thing with the broom. Alright, let me find my save for the next stage. So 2-2. There's also a zip here, and there's a technique I want to talk about as well. Switch to the broom right away. Now this, if you, this is the one zip I think you should think carefully about whether or not you want to do. It's really easy to die when setting this up. And I should also, I don't really know the exact conditions for it to happen, but if you die in this game, if you die in a certain way, there's a chance that you kind of glitch it out. And the screen will suddenly start, every 2 or 3 seconds, the screen will suddenly change, like the level will change, like the background objects suddenly change. And it will just keep happening. And sometimes you'll just randomly appear on top of a bunch of spikes and die. And if you die, it'll continue happening, and you just have to reset the game. So, I don't know the exact conditions for it to happen. It happens sometimes, but it only happens after you die. So if you don't die, you don't have to worry about it, but just keep that in mind. So, this zip is pretty scary. Or I think it is, at least. I can't remember if there's a... You might be able to set up a certain pixel by looking at the ground here. I think this might work. Stand on the broom. Same situation as before. We're facing away from the wall that we're going to go into. Hold up and press B to move upwards, and then hold down and hold select. Now we're inside the wall. Jump up to about right here. This zip is much... It handles a little differently than the other one. I'm not sure why, but if I zip, if I just hold right and then release, after zipping about 1 screen length, I'll get stuck. And I'll show you. Oh, and sometimes there's these instant death pixels too. And I can't really explain that. Sometimes you'll just die during that zip. There's a nice pixel here. Might be okay. These death pixels are strong. Can't remember if a continue sends you back to the same stage or the beginning of the act in the Japanese version. Beginning of the act, okay. Let's try it again. You can already see why the zip might not be favorable for you. Yep. I might play back to that position from here. Maybe that'll change it up a little bit. Don't remember how the platforming in this section goes, though. It's been a while. But I did want to showcase the 2-2 zip. All the 2-2 zip does is skip the first screen. Oh, you want a charge going down here? Oh yeah, if you're moving while you deploy the broom actually deploys farther, so make sure if you want to position this thing nice and precisely, you stand still when deploying. Alright. And even if you don't die right here, there's a good chance that you'll die at the end of the zip anyways. Okay, there we go. So if you just do one zip, you get stuck in this position right here. You can sometimes wiggle your way out, or you can just jump and kill yourself. But you don't treat it like you treat the zips in the previous level. So instead... Okay, let's get back in that position there. So instead, to make this work, and it's really strange, but as soon as you start the first zip, start tapping the crouch button. Start tapping down. And you pass that weird spot. And then you can just start zipping like normal to the end. Just hold right, and then just tap right every so often to refresh the zip. Wiggle back a little bit. This is a really weird, I don't even know if I can do this without dying, but you just sometimes die when triggering the screen transition here. It's strange. You can kind of prevent it from happening most of the time by... And I'll talk about this. This is actually a sort of platforming trick as well. But if you pause the game, and if I unpause and immediately start holding the A button, you jump out of the pause. You kind of buffer the jump out of the pause. When you do this compared to just jumping normally, I think it changes the way that you start to jump. One application of this, so what you would do now is continue on the level this way. Notice that I clipped the side of the spikes there, but... Oh no, I'm going to fall into the spikes. If you pause the game, unpause and hold the A button, you actually are able to jump in midair. This is you're only able to do this in some scenarios, and let's see if I can get to a place that will actually demonstrate this. There are enemies on the screen. Okay. So there's the jump. However, you might think, okay, so if I'm a jump in the air and I hold the A button, oh, it's not working anymore. The condition that allows this to work, you can only do this kind of pause buffer jump if you are below the position that you started at, if you're in midair. So since I'm standing on this floor, by walking off of it, I'm now lower than my initial position. So if that condition is met, you can jump out of a pause. So I fell a little bit there, I fell a little bit further there, and a little further there. So I was able to continue the pause buffer jumps that way. But if I, So I'm a little bit higher than where I did the last pause buffer jump. It won't work now. It only works if you are lower than your initial position. It's kind of hard to explain, but I did demonstrate it a little bit there. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't think there's a zip setup in this screen. There might be. And there's also a nice backup pumpkin right there. But anyways, that's the 2-2 zip. I'll show it again. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to because it's really risky, but play around with it a little bit. Maybe you can find a way to do it consistently without dying. But again, just find the right pixel to deploy the broom. Line yourself up the same way, facing away from the wall that you want to go into. Hold up and shoot, hold down and hold select until you're inside. Release down. Continue holding select. Tap A a couple of times until you're right here. As soon as I release forward to start this first zip, start tapping down. And then hold forward again, release, tap, 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 until you're all the way at the edge. Wiggle back to the center a bit, pause, unpause, and hold A. So the pause buffer should prevent you from dying there. And then once again, the strat here is to pause buffer jump over these spikes. So that's 2-2. There's a couple of zips in 2-3. I'll actually only show the first one with this save file. I'll have to switch to my North American save file to show the next one. But this is fighting the boss for some reason, so let's suicide and see if we go back. I don't have any extra lives, so we won't. I'll use the other save. Okay, so this is the second zip. Do I have any? I do have a couple of extra lives. So I'll go back to the first part of the stage and show you the first zip. This is a similar situation here. I'm going to switch to the broom right away. And what's kind of frustrating here is these enemies will just continue to spawn. So if you don't set this up fast, you'll just start getting hit. So place the broom using a visual cue on the ground or in the background. Stand on it, hold up, shoot. Hold down and hold select until you're inside the wall. Continue holding select. Tap up to jump up to about this position here. And then zip like normal. You should fall off right here and the background will be a little bit glitchy. So what's nice about this is it didn't go very far, but a side effect of zipping in that section is that it despawns the rest of the enemies in the level. So there are now no more enemies. That's the nicest side effect of this. There are these little spark things, but the regular enemies are all gone. Okay, so the second part here, this is a really important zip. But it's also really scary. If you mess it up, there's this big pit of spikes that will kill you. Get on the broom like this. Unlike the previous zips, we can't have a nice pixel-perfect setup. This one you'll have to just time. And if you mistime it, you will fall and die. So stand on the left side of the broom like this, so that the tip of it is kind of in between her legs. Move forward, and then at the right time, hold up and shoot, hold down and select. And try and get in there. Don't look at the broom when doing this. Look at Doropi's sprite. Use her sprite to line up where to go. Don't watch the broom. Just make sure you're standing on the right spot on the broom and then watch her sprite. There is a few pixels of leeway. It's not too hard. I haven't done a frame count on this, but if I had to guess, you probably have like 6 or 7 frame window to do this, to aim in the right spot. If you do fall, if you fall, you can actually sometimes recover yourself with some really well-timed like pause jumps. Like that. So if you're quick to identify that you didn't make the zip, you can recover, but it's really hard. It's nice if you do though, because you have to play the entire level otherwise. So let's do it again. Hold up, shoot, hold down and hold select, release down, continue holding select, and then tap A until you're right here. Your feet will kind of be on the, like, box tiles that represent the ceiling. Now we're going to zip all the way to the right, hold right for half a second, release, tap right until you're all the way against the edge here. Now what we want to do is, what's actually happening is, we're going to line ourselves up with both the screen transition pixel and an instant death pixel. There's just some out-of-bounds tiles that'll sometimes randomly kill you. And if you trigger the screen transition and die at the same time, in the North American version, you'll respawn in the boss room, die, and then, you'll transition to the boss room, die, and then respawn on the next level. So after you've done the initial zip, there's actually a few death tiles around you right now. So if you don't move in a precise way, you'll just die. But this is consistent. So wiggle to the left a little bit here. There's a nice window to do this, but this is roughly where you want to stop. If I'm looking at the background, I don't think I can get a mouse cursor on screen very easily. But if I'm looking at the background, you see it's like the letter A in the tiles in the background. There's these column of tiles that have the letter A on them. Use those as a cue to roughly position yourself. I'm sort of standing in the middle of the two middle columns of the letter A. And from this position, hold select and tap A 3 times. We want to go up to this position here. And then zip back to the right. This bypassed a couple of instant death pixels that are like right beneath my feet right here. And then from this position, I'm flush up against the right side of the wall. This is as far right as you can go. We're going to do another pause, unpause while holding A. If you don't do that, you'll usually you'll die more often than you won't. So from that exact pixel, you'll spawn in the boss room and die. When you die in that position in a boss room in the North American version, it skips the level. I think this is due to omitting the cutscenes. I think the cutscenes had some sort of special trigger in it that when they removed it in the North American version, it allows you to skip a level. If you do that in the Japanese version, you just respawn. So again, stand on the tip of the broom, hold down and hold select as you go up, jump up to this position, zip all the way to the right, wiggle back to about right here, hold select, jump 3 times, hold right and zip back again, pause, unpause and immediately hold A. If you listen really carefully, you can also hear the sound of you touching a spike. It's the same sound. So that is the Act 2 Death Warp. We're now in 3-1. So, the last zip here is going to be, the last one that I'm familiar with, is going to be in Act 3, Stage 3-3, the room right before the boss, once again. And of course, because these are death warps, you want to be very careful not to game over. Make sure you have enough lives to do these death warps. This game is extremely brutal, if you haven't already noticed, if you started playing it, but there are no continues in the North American version. You start off, I think, with 3 total lives, and I think there is an extra life in every act. I think there is 1 in every... there might be like 2 in Act 4 or something, but there's only a handful of lives. Make sure you get all of them if you're playing this in the Big 20, because game overing means you start all the way over. And having to do two death warps means that you only have you only have the extra lives that you collect as spares, not what you start with. You only have just enough. So, this is the final screen of Act 3 of Stage 3-3. Let's see if I remember the pixel here. We want to deploy our broom so that it's as close to the right side as possible. And I'm gonna die. Oh, I do have a save state. Oh, I've actually got it. The save state in the right position here, but using the ground as a visual cue to line yourself up. You want to be able to deploy the broom so that it's flush against the wall like this. This way you can walk all the way to the right while on the broom and not fall. From this position, hold select and tap left. You want to tap left as briefly as possible here, because if you fail to climb the wall, the broom disappears as soon as you press A anyways, so if you're not climbing the wall, you will fall into the boss room and you're forced to fight the boss. I should have loaded state. Yeah, if you're playing on EverDrive, you can't save or load states until you actually have control of the Doropi. Alright, so here, hold select, tap A, or tap left as lightly as you can. If you don't see Doropi move, then you're fine. See, notice how she moved a little bit? If I jumped right there, I entered the boss room. Whoops. So make sure when you're turning around there that you don't move, or if you move as little as possible. You've got enough time to set it up. You can move around on the broom as much as you want. Of course, keep an eye on your oxygen if you have to go back and refill. So go all the way to the right, hold select, tap left as lightly as you can. Then press A until you get to about right here. Man, I'm just gonna keep taking damage, I guess. And then from this position, you want to wiggle to the left to right there. I don't have enough time to do this with this, with the save state. I'm gonna go get some oxygen. Alright. So, jump up to right here. Wiggle to this position. I'm looking at the ground I stood on to deploy the broom initially. I'm kind of in the center of that large platform. From this position, I think this is how you do it at least. You tap A, or hold select, and tap A all the way up to about right here. You can see Dorothy's hat on the bottom of the screen. Because I don't have enough time to explain this while I run out of oxygen. And yes, you're still in the water when you're inside the wall. For some parts of being in the wall, at least. So go here, wiggle to here, hold select and tap A until right here. And if I tapped A one more time, I would screw it up. So make sure you're in this exact position here, so you can see where Dorothy's hat is at the bottom of the screen. Here, hold select, tap A to here. This is very precise. We're gonna wiggle, like tapping left and right, very carefully to right here. If I tapped left or right one more time, I would die. From that position, let me refresh the save state with little oxygen. Wiggle to here, hold select, tap A until right there. Left, right, left, right, left, right. To right here, hold select, tap A. And if you listened closely, you heard like a touching the spikes sound at the same time the screen transitioned. That means you got it. And that's it. So I believe, I'm not familiar with exactly when you should consider the goal met. Maybe Bad Breaks or somebody can clarify when it's appropriate to like split or start the next game. I would imagine it should be on like showing Act 4 appearing, like Act 4 ready or whatever, you know, the ready message on this screen to confirm that you actually skipped the boss. And then, well, I don't know. I mean, there's that, and there's also people that are not going to be doing the boss skips when they beat the boss when they change games. So, get clarification on that. So again, using a certain pixel to deploy the broom, walk to the right, hold select, tap left as lightly as possible, go here, wiggle back and forth, hold select, tap A to here, left, right, left, right, left, right, select and jump. And remember, if I wiggled too far to the left there, I would have died. The next pixel over would kill you. But that is what enables the boss skip to happen, is being right next to that death pixel. Okay, so that get ready message, and Bad Breaks is confirming that you can hit the split once you see that ready message. Left, right, to wiggle, hold select. Left, right, and then that's enough. Hold select. Like, I'm looking at Doropi's hat against the background. I hope you guys can see this on stream, because what kind of sucks is if you have a TV that crops out a lot of the overscan, you might not actually see much when she's out of bounds. So people with that situation could be at a disadvantage. You might have to find some other method or some other visual cue. Hold select and tap A. So you really have to keep in mind where you're supposed to be holding select and pressing A. Sometimes you're not holding select. Sometimes you have to hold A when coming out of a start menu. Make sure you get all those right. Those aren't just arbitrary. They're very specific to their situations, that you do a pause jump, or do a hold select and tap A jump, or a regular jump while inside of a wall too. So that's all of the content, I believe, for the zips and basic techniques. I can't think of any other significant time savers throughout the first 3 acts that need a significant explanation. So I'm going to do like a sort of a Q&A with chat if you guys had any questions. I hadn't addressed anything throughout the tutorial, but yeah, if you have any questions now, let me know, and I can address that on stream here, and then we can close this out. Also, that zip in 2.2 has a 50%, 50-50 of you dying, question mark. I don't know about 50-50, but you do have a chance of dying. And as I mentioned during the explanation of that section, it's up to you whether or not you want to do it because of that risk. I would just play around with it, and maybe you can find some consistent way to do it, but when I was learning it, I would just die sometimes. Unfortunately, I don't know the exact conditions for it. I find that if you go fast and do the same thing every time, you have less of a chance of it happening. Trying desperately to remember how to play the game. I remember the zips very distinctly. For instance, if you didn't want to broom this section, now that you know about the magic of the select button, you can just jump up through the wall this way. Make sure that if you do something like this and you want to continue walking to the right, if I just started pressing right, because of the way the hitbox moves when you turn around, you just fall again. So if you wanted to actually be able to make it onto that platform, first jump and then turn right. Can we see 2.2 zipless? I'm not an expert at it, but I will play it semi-blind for you. It's not very hard. Just be really careful about the first platforming part, because there's all these enemies that continuously spawn. If you're deploying brooms, just be really careful not to, walk off of the broom. You'll die very quickly. So memorizing the positions of all those moving guys would probably be beneficial. So that's what happens if you shoot while jumping. Not used to this game, so... Okay, looks like I found a nice spot here to stand. So notice just how careful I was with my broom there. I was deploying it for several of these jumps, but I was very careful not to land on it the wrong way. And just also being careful in general not to shoot while jumping. Looks like I'll need this. Oh, something I should note. Because of the way that you are always accelerating downwards when standing on platforms, there's no need to ledge jump in this game. Just walk off of a ledge. That's sufficient. Alright, so I think that wraps it up. I don't see any other questions, so if there are any further questions, feel free to send me a PM on Twitch, or I would elsewise direct anything else to the world record run by PLD. So, thanks for watching, and if Andy is ready, we will continue with what we're doing, a Gremlins tutorial next? Gremlins 2, I believe. With Indy Swee. And looks like he's almost ready here, so stick around for the next Big 20 tutorial. And while he's got a couple of minutes, let's see if I can't find something fun to do in this game. Maybe show you guys how awesome Act 4 is. It's unfortunate that you guys don't have to play Act 4 because it's pretty hilarious with its select jumping. You can navigate almost the entire stage while out of bounds. Oh, doesn't look like I have a save for that one. How about 4-2? Unfortunately, 4-2 and 4-3 I think are pretty lacking in the zips, but 4-1 is almost completely dominated by zips. Ah, here we go. Ah, jeez, I don't remember where to... It's not good enough. Oh, dang. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you want to position yourself on that broom properly first. I think right there is good. Yep. Okay, so now at this point, just hold select and mash A, and you go through the entire stage this way. Well, most of it. Normally you have to traverse this whole nasty section with the broom. There's an extra life there if you need one. Then I like to select jump out of the wall. You don't have to, but it's easier for me. Alright. This is kind of a nasty section here. Well, I just made a save. That's what happens when you play a game that makes use of the select button often. And you can just jump right by this boss, or whatever this thing is. Good 4-1. Good speed stage. Okay, I know there's some silly stuff you can do here. What? Oh, she's stuck. Is she? Oh, it's not happening anymore. Oh, I don't understand this. Oh, the sound, it's getting stranger. I can sort of move in this state. Oh, it stopped. And I think I've soft blocked. Okay, don't do that, kids. It's not good for you. So yeah, now that you know about the select button, feel free to explore. Like the game is now your canvas. You can do anything you want with it with the select button. It's magical. Magical Dorobi. Maybe I can... How does this save? I was just wondering if I could show you the boss quick kills here. Okay, so actually, right before we switch, I will like sort of tease this. Maybe somebody can find something out. So this is the final. These are the final bosses of the game. There's an additional glitch in this game. If you touch an enemy while shooting it on the same frame, it deals a huge amount of damage to the enemy, like real quick. I haven't actually tried this on previous bosses, but since you have to fight boss 1, maybe someone can find a way to do it with some clever broom usage. But I have a setup for the bosses in here. Well, if I can remember. No, that was the wrong. Okay, I forget what the pixels are. Is that too close? Okay. So you can sort of, since you have to touch the boss on a certain frame, the frame that you touch them, you can sort of buffer your way into that by standing away from the boss by 1 pixel, entering the pause menu, and then as you exit the pause menu, hold shoot and hold forward, and that way you hit the boss as soon as the boss spawns. So I was standing too far forward there. It's sort of hard to do it on this boss because he appears so fast. Okay, so I think I see the correct pixel now. I will try it again. Ah. Where's that? That's too far. Okay, I think that's the correct one. See if I can get her to come down on this side again. Oh, shouldn't have moved. There we go. Oh, I died. Alright, one more go. There we go. So now, so I'm on the right pixel. I'm 1 pixel away from the boss. As I unpause, I'm going to hold forward and B, and then I'm going to start mashing B. And that still wasn't the right spot. Is it 1 more forward right there? Maybe it is. Okay, we'll try it again. God. Okay, I think I got it. Still wasn't... Okay, so it's 1 further pixel. I'm relearning this as we go. There we go. Dang it, dude. It's 1 more. Okay. Alright, I think, might be giving up on this soon. Oh. Okay, 1 more. I am actually surprisingly getting the next pixel every time. Must be 1 more. Okay, so I was standing way further back than I thought. Sorry, guys. It's been a long time since I played this, so it's way too close. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I can't figure it out, so I'm just gonna hand it over to Indy. Sorry about that, but that was the Crown and Conquest. Stick around for the Gremlins 2 tutorial.